Wagwan world, heading to the ATM, come me just get paid. And me need some fresh clothes and a new shoes and everything after that I got spicy.
Bro, see me if you tell me say you gotta show all your followers the debit card information just like that? Never display personal information such as credit card numbers, debit card pins, passports, and your home address online or send it to anyone on social media.
Be cyber safe. Think before you click.
Have mercy. It's weird, you know. You make me catch a virus. Even if I your friend send you the link, if it looks suspicious, no click it, so.
Beware of suspicious links. Hackers can steal your personal information or login credentials with the use of embedded links.
Please to take me to the doctor.
Be cyber safe. Think before you click.
Wagwan world, heading to the ATM, come me just get paid. And me need some fresh clothes and a new shoes and everything after that I got spicy.
Bro, see me if you tell me say you gotta show all your followers the debit card information just like that? Never display personal information such as credit card numbers, debit card pins, passports, and your home address online or send it to anyone on social media.
Be cyber safe. Think before you click.
Have mercy. It's weird, you know. You make me catch a virus. Even if I your friend send you the link, if it looks suspicious, no click it, so.
Beware of suspicious links. Hackers can steal your personal information or login credentials with the use of embedded links.
Please to take me to the doctor.
Be cyber safe. Think before you click.
Wagwan world, heading to the ATM, come me just get paid. And me need some fresh clothes and a new shoes and everything after that I got spicy.
Bro, see me if you tell me say you gotta show all your followers the debit card information just like that? Never display personal information such as credit card numbers, debit card pins, passports, and your home address online or send it to anyone on social media.
Be cyber safe. Think before you click.
Have mercy. It's weird, you know. You make me catch a virus. Even if I your friend send you the link, if it looks suspicious, no click it, so.
Beware of suspicious links. Hackers can steal your personal information or login credentials with the use of embedded links.
Please to take me to the doctor.
Be cyber safe. Think before you click.
Wagwan world, heading to the ATM, come me just get paid. And me need some fresh clothes and a new shoes and everything after that I got spicy.
Bro, see me if you tell me say you gotta show all your followers the debit card information just like that? Never display personal information such as credit card numbers, debit card pins, passports, and your home address online or send it to anyone on social media.
Be cyber safe. Think before you click.
Have mercy. It's the way I do ya know. You make me catch a virus. Even if I your friend send you the link, if it looks suspicious, no click it, so.
Beware of suspicious links. Hackers can steal your personal information or login credentials with the use of embedded links.
Please to take me to the doctor.
Be cyber safe. Think before you click.
Walk on world, heading to the ATM, come me just get pay. I'ma need some fresh clothes and a new shoes and everything after that I got spicy.
Bro, see me if you tell me say you gotta show all your followers your debit card information just like that? Never display personal information such as credit card numbers, debit card pins, passports, and your home address online or send it to anyone on social media.
Be cyber safe. Think before you click.
Have mercy. It's the way I do ya know. You make me catch a virus. Even if I your friend send you the link, if it looks suspicious, no click it, so.
Beware of suspicious links. Hackers can steal your personal information or login credentials with the use of embedded links.
Please to take me to the doctor.
Be cyber safe. Think before you click.
Walk on world, heading to the ATM, come me just get pay. I'ma need some fresh clothes and a new shoes and everything after that I got spicy.
Bro, see me if you tell me say you gotta show all your followers your debit card information just like that? Never display personal information such as credit card numbers, debit card pins, passports, and your home address online or send it to anyone on social media.
Be cyber safe. Think before you click.
Have mercy. It's the way I do ya know. You make me catch a virus. Even if I your friend send you the link, if it looks suspicious, no click it, so.
Beware of suspicious links. Hackers can steal your personal information or login credentials with the use of embedded links.
Please to take me to the doctor.
Be cyber safe. Think before you click.
Walk on world, heading to the ATM, come me just get pay. I'ma need some fresh clothes and a new shoes and everything after that I got spicy.
Bro, see me if you tell me say you gotta show all your followers your debit card information just like that? Never display personal information such as credit card numbers, debit card pins, passports, and your home address online or send it to anyone on social media.
Be cyber safe. Think before you click.
Have mercy. It's the way I do ya know. You make me catch a virus. Even if I your friend send you the link, if it looks suspicious, no click it, so.
Beware of suspicious links. Hackers can steal your personal information or login credentials with the use of embedded links.
Please to take me to the doctor.
Be cyber safe. Think before you click.
So you mean if you tell me say you're gonna show all your followers your debit card information just like that? Never display personal information such as credit card numbers, debit card pins, passports, and your home address online, or send it to anyone on social media.
Be cyber safe. Think before you click.
Have mercy. You see what you know? You make me catch a virus. Even if I your friend send you the link, if it looks suspicious, no click it so.
Beware of suspicious links. Hackers can steal your personal information or login credentials with the use of embedded links.
Please to take me to the doctor.
Be cyber safe. Think before you click.
In Jamaica's 60th year of independence, the creation of an enduring legacy in science, energy, and technology is
New shoes and everything after that I got spicy.
Bro, so you mean if you tell me say you're gonna show all your followers your debit card information just like that? Never display personal information such as credit card numbers, debit card pins, passports, and your home address online, or send it to anyone on social media.
Be cyber safe. Think before you click.
Have mercy. You see what you know? You make me catch a virus. Even if I your friend send you the link, if it looks suspicious, no click it so.
Beware of suspicious links. Hackers can steal your personal information or login credentials with the use of embedded links.
Please to take me to the doctor.
Be cyber safe. Think before you click.
in Jamaica's 60th year of independence, the creation of an enduring legacy in science, energy, and technology is paramount for the advancement of the nation.
The Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology has begun the implementation of activities to build out an ecosystem-associated science, technology and innovation policy. Meanwhile, the multipurpose gamma irradiation facility will be completed this fiscal year. This is to assist in national development, particularly in agriculture, medicine, industry, research, and education.
In the short term, this facility will be integral in two major international atomic energy agency technical cooperation projects, which are of vital concern to the country.
The two areas are agriculture crop improvement through experimental technologies and the integrated vector control management approach to control the Aedes aegypti mosquito population. To enable a better understanding of science, several programs are being implemented to engage students and other young persons and to promote viable career options within this field. Government will be spending $30 million over the next 2 years implementing its Energy Management and Efficiency Program, EMEP. The program aims to lower energy consumption in public sector facilities.
The component includes a retrofitting of 80 government facilities with renewable energy and energy-efficient interventions.
Meanwhile, a consultant is being engaged to review and update the 2009 to 2030 National Energy Policy. Minister Vaz says the new legislative framework will diversify the energy mix, providing increased renewable energy for electricity, lessening the dependence on fossil fuels and reducing carbon emissions.
These interventions include solar photovoltaic technology, LED lighting upgrade, and energy-efficient air conditioning technology. The structural and electrical integrity assessment of 12 hospitals, 10 schools, and other public
Heading to the ATM, come me just get paid. I'ma need some fresh clothes and a new shoes, and everything after that I got spicy.
Bro, see me if you tell me say you're gonna show all your followers your debit card information just like that? Never display personal information such as credit card numbers, debit card pins, passports, and your home address online, or send it to anyone on social media.
Be cyber safe. Think before you click.
Mercy. It's weird, you know. You make me catch a virus. Even if your friend send you the link, if it looks suspicious, no click it, so.
Beware of suspicious links. Hackers can steal your personal information or login credentials with the use of embedded links.
Please to take me to the doctor.
Be cyber safe. Think before you click.
In Jamaica's 60th year of independence, the creation of an enduring legacy in science, energy, and technology is paramount for the advancement of the nation.
The Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology has begun the implementation of activities to build out an ecosystem-associated science, technology and innovation policy. Meanwhile, the multipurpose gamma irradiation facility will be completed this fiscal year. This is to assist in national development, particularly in agriculture, medicine, industry, research, and education.
In the short term, this facility will be integral in two major international atomic energy agency technical cooperation projects, which are of vital concern to the country.
The two areas are agriculture crop improvement through experimental technologies and the integrated vector control management approach to control the Aedes aegypti mosquito population. To enable a better understanding of science, several programs are being implemented to engage students and other young persons and to promote viable career options within this field. Government will be spending $30 million over the next 2 years implementing its Energy Management and Efficiency Program, EMEP. The program aims to lower energy consumption in public sector facilities.
The component includes a retrofitting of 80 government facilities with renewable energy and energy-efficient interventions.
Meanwhile, a consultant is being engaged to review and update the 2009 to 2030 National Energy Policy. Minister Vaz says the new legislative framework will diversify the energy mix, providing increased renewable energy for electricity, lessening the dependence on fossil fuels and reducing carbon emissions.
Good morning again, everyone. Minister is advising he should be down in about 5 minutes. He's here, but he's getting some more stuff together, so in 5 minutes.
And other public office buildings have been completed to support this effort.
The minister adds that the second Integrated Resource Plan, IRP2, which is designed to achieve a modern electricity grid and a low-cost electricity solution, will also be subject to urgent review. Work is also being advanced for the tabling of 3 pieces of legislation: the Petroleum Downstream Activities Bill, the Electricity Amendment Indemnification and Validation Bill, and the Electricity Amendment Bill. Other renewable initiatives include the pumped hydro storage project and the electrification of public sector fleets. The ministry hopes by the second quarter of the start issuing requests for proposals RFP for the procurement of new electricity generation capacity. This will be done under the Generation Procurement Entity GPE. Steps are being taken to improve the island's data privacy and protection framework, as well as its technology infrastructure. Among initiatives is the completion of the data protection regulations, which is targeted for September.
The preliminary drafting instructions have since been received from the consultant, are now being reviewed by the Ministry and the Information Commissioner.
Recommendations submitted for amendments to the Cybercrimes Act are being reviewed and will be presented to Parliament in short order. And the full rollout of the eGov core networking equipment infrastructure is expected in August of this year to boost government's communications network, GovNet.
This will be done through the build-out of the fiber network in the KMA, the build-out of the network core by receiving, installing and configuring the networking equipment, the laying of the fiber cables across the KMA, and the connecting of 50 entities onto this network.
Continuing its high bandwidth connectivity in the education sector, 341 schools are to be connected within the fiscal year under the National Broadband Initiative. Steps are also being taken to speed up the development of a national broadband strategy and start the procurement process for the network by March 2023. As for providing access to internet services, the ministry will complete the remaining 88 community Wi-Fi sites by May 31 this year and establish 6 new public Wi-Fi hotspots by March 2023. The ministry will also continue the procurement and distribution of technological devices under the Tablets in Schools rollout project. Science, energy, and technology being positioned as solutions to challenges and transformation to a digital society.
Walk on world, heading to the ATM, come me just get paid. And me need some fresh clothes and a new shoes and everything after that I got spicy.
Bro, so you mean to tell me say you're gonna show all your followers your debit card information just like that? Never display personal information such as credit card numbers, debit card pins, passports, and your home address online, or send it to anyone on social media.
Be cyber safe. Think before you click.
Have mercy. You see what you know? You make me catch a virus. Even if your friend send you the link, if it looks suspicious, no click it, so.
Beware of suspicious links. Hackers can steal your personal information or login credentials with the use of embedded links.
Please to take me to the doctor.
Be cyber safe. Think before you click.
In Jamaica's 60th year of independence, the creation of an enduring legacy in science, energy, and technology is paramount for the advancement of the nation.
The Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology has begun the implementation of activities to build out an ecosystem associated science, technology and innovation policy. Meanwhile, the multipurpose gamma irradiation facility will be completed this fiscal year. This is to assist in national development, particularly in agriculture, medicine, industry, research and education.
In the short term, this facility will be integral in two major international atomic energy agency technical cooperation projects, which are of vital concern to the country.
The two areas are agriculture crop improvement through experimental technologies and the integrated vector control management approach to control the Aedes aegypti mosquito population. To enable a better understanding of science, several programs are being implemented to engage students and other young persons and to promote viable career options within this field. Government will be spending $30 million over the next 2 years implementing its Energy Management and Efficiency Program, EMEP. The program aims to lower energy consumption in public sector facilities.
The component includes a retrofitting of 80 government facilities with renewable energy and energy-efficient interventions.
Meanwhile, a consultant is being engaged to review and update the 2009 to 2030 National Energy Policy. Minister Vaz says the new legislative framework will diversify the energy mix, providing increased renewable energy for electricity, lessening the dependence on fossil fuels and reducing carbon emissions.
These interventions include solar photovoltaic technology, LED lighting upgrade, and energy-efficient air conditioning technology. The structural and electrical integrity assessment of 12 hospitals, 10 schools, and other public office buildings have been completed to support this effort.
The minister adds that the second Integrated Resource Plan, IRP2, which is designed to achieve a modern electricity grid and a low-cost electricity solution, will also be subject to urgent review. Work is also being advanced for the tabling of 3 pieces of legislation: the Petroleum Downstream Activities Bill, the Electricity Amendment Indemnification and Validation Bill, and the Electricity Amendment Bill. Other renewable initiatives include the pumped hydro storage project and the electrification of public sector fleets. The ministry hopes by the second quarter of the fiscal year to start issuing requests for proposals RFP for the procurement of new electricity generation capacity. This will be done under the Generation Procurement Entity GPE. Steps are being taken to improve the island's data privacy and protection framework as well as its technology infrastructure. Among initiatives is the completion of the data protection regulations, which is targeted for September.
The preliminary drafting instructions have since been received from the consultant, are now being reviewed by the Ministry and the Information Commissioner.
Recommendations submitted for amendments to the Cybercrimes Act are being reviewed and will be presented to Parliament in short order. And the full rollout of the eGov core networking equipment infrastructure is expected in August of this year to boost government's communications network, GovNet.
This will be done through the build-out of the fiber network in the KMA, the build-out of the network core by receiving, installing and configuring the networking equipment, the laying of the fiber cables across the KMA, and the connecting of 50 entities onto this network.
Continuing its high bandwidth connectivity in the education sector, 341 schools are to be connected within the fiscal year under the National Broadband Initiative. Steps are also being taken to speed up the development of a national broadband strategy and start the procurement process for the network by March 2023. As for providing access to internet services, the ministry will complete the remaining 88 community Wi-Fi sites by May 31 this year and establish 6 new public Wi-Fi hotspots by March 2023. The ministry will also continue the procurement and distribution of technological devices under the Tablets in Schools rollout project. Science, energy, and technology being positioned as solutions to challenges and transformation to a digital society.
Where is Mr. Fitzhenley? Right here, right. All ready? Ready? Good morning to everyone here and those who may be viewing this press conference on different platforms. I'd like to thank you all for attending this press conference. This was announced yesterday afternoon, as I felt we cannot continue with the uncertainty and the lack of transparency surrounding a large number of JPS bills issued within the last week. So I'm going to be touching on a number of subjects to do with JPS this morning and to give the ministries and the government's perspective, and most importantly, last but not least, to indicate what has come out of the discussions between the Prime Minister and myself and the President of the JPS, the new President, I should say, who took office on the 1st of August, Mr. Hugh Grant, in the middle of the recovery efforts. So the first is the JPS billing issues, a very vexing issue for thousands, if not tens of thousands, of customers who received their bills recently. Following the many legitimate concerns raised by Jamaicans across all 14 parishes regarding estimated and actual bills received from JPS for the July-August billing period, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Science, Energy and Telecommunications and Technology and Transport and I decided it was imperative that we host this press conference to have some matters properly aired and presented to the wider public in the interest of transparency and accountability. First, I wish to address some statements being made in the public regarding these bills and the reasons for the bills, the communications with the government, and the facts surrounding both. On Monday, the 19th of August, 2024, Ms. Winsome Callum, JPS Director of Corporate Communications, stated during an interview nationwide that the Jamaica Public Service advised key stakeholders that there would be an increase in the bills for customers. I have done my own research, and I have spoken to many, and I am of the opinion that Ms. Winsome Callum did not intentionally give information that was not accurate or anything untoward. I therefore take it as it is, and we will put that matter to rest. My position is that it was unintentional. A letter was sent to JPS, from JPS to the Ministry of Finance dated July 1st, 2024, regarding 3 facilities: the South Jamaica Power Company, the JPS Borg 114 megawatt combined cycle power plant in Montego Bay, and the New Fortress Energy Jamaica Power Plant. Please note that this letter was not sent to the OUR, neither was it sent to the Permanent Secretary of the Energy Ministry, nor to me as Minister with responsibility for energy. So I'd like to make that categorically clear, to clear the air and the confusion that the Ministry, the OUR, the Permanent Secretary, and the Minister was not aware of the letter that was sent. It was neither copied to us, it was a straight letter to the Ministry of Finance, which I do find in itself odd. The LNG versus ADO. The letter stated that these plants would have been affected by the relocation of the New Fortress Energy's floating storage and gasification unit ahead of the passage of Beryl. The relocation to avoid the storm damage, the FSRU was decommissioned on July 1st, 2024 at approximately 1 p.m. Following checks made by the ministry, the FSRU was recommissioned on July 6, 2024 at 9 p.m. So if we take it as 5 days. Very important information. Using this information, this means that the South Jamaica Power Company would have had access to LNG as of this July 6, 2024. The same for the NFE Jamaica Power Plant, which JPS stated in a letter was unable to switch to ADO and therefore was unable to supply energy until the FSRU was back in operation. The July 1st letter also stated that the JPS Borg Power Plant in Montego Bay had 5 days of stored LNG at the plant and would need to switch to ADO upon exhausting the stored fuel. Again, bear in mind that FSRU was out of use for 5 days at best. The only plant that would have used ADO would have been the South Jamaica Power Company for a period of 5 days at a worst case. This raises several questions that JPS and the OUR must now take into consideration and provide responses to the government and the people of Jamaica. Please note that despite the FSRU being out of commission for 5 days and the JPS was granted a 91% reduction on special consumption tax for fuel for the entire month of July as it relates to ADO, the government is therefore interested in knowing how much ADO was used over the period for which the FRSU was relocated. Our in-house calculations have revealed that there are discrepancies with the calculations being represented in the several JPS bills. Our worst-case scenario calculations suggest that a 6% increase in electricity bills would be expected. This is not represented in the bills that are being issued to customers. JPS has stated that 2 factors have accounted for the increased bills being received by their customers: fuel cost and exchange rate. The average increase in the fuel rate on electricity bills between April 24 and July 24 was $1.28 per kilowatt hour. The increase in the fuel rate on electricity bills for August 24 is $7.83 per kilowatt hour. The fuel rate increased by 32% between July and August, up from an average increase of 4% between April and July. Again, bearing in mind that JPS does not have access did not have access to LNG for 5 days of the current billing cycle. To quote the July 1st letter again, JPS indicated that they would have to switch to more expensive ADO fuel with LNG, which was made available again. One plant had 5 days storage of LNG, one plant could not use ADO, and another plant had to switch to ADO until LNG was available again. LNG was made available from July 6, as I said before, at 9 p.m. For this reason, I reject the assertion given by JPS that the cost of ADO fuel is the reason for the increased bills being sent to Jamaicans. And I urge them to recalculate. I urge JPS to recalculate and recalculate and recalculate and get it right. I'll now move to the billing exchange rate. The billing exchange rate moved from 0.8% or $1.23 between July and August 2024. Month over month, this is not the largest increase for the April to August period. In May 2024, the billing exchange rate jumped from $2.23 or 14%. In other words, the month-to-month impact of the exchange rate is not as severe as JPS is attempting to have customers believe, and therefore would not have such a dramatic impact on their current bills when compared to their previous bills. Given that this 32% increase in the fuel rate was unprecedented, it raised concerns from me as minister as to why the OUR did not investigate the cause for such an anomaly in the fuel rate provided by JPS, bearing in mind that no information has been provided to suggest that JPS had to operate using ADO for fuel for a prolonged period of time, given that the supply was disrupted for 5 days, and that based on communications from JPS, only one plant would have been utilizing ADO for the period of disruption. These are questions that must be addressed and factors that raise great concern for me as minister and for the government and, of course, all well-thinking Jamaicans regarding the billing practices of the JPS and the level of oversight being provided by OUR to protect customers. I have subsequently written to the president of JPS this morning with a letter with 8 questions that I have asked to be answered to allow us to continue a deep dive in relation to this billing saga. I'm not sure if you have the letter to put up on the screen. Huh? Okay, the letter will be shared in a media package. Let's move to the Electricity Disaster Fund. The Electricity Disaster Fund, as stated in the Rules of Procedure for Operations and Administration, has a primary aim of reducing the exposure of JPS to damages inflicted on its transmission and distribution system by natural disasters in the absence of traditional insurance coverage from firms that specialize in this business. While one of the main objectives in the stated policy of the Disaster Fund is to minimize the financial impact on ratepayers since they have been required to pay higher rates in the aftermath of a natural disaster. The way the fund was designed, JPS may only claim on the fund for damages to its transmission and distribution system. This means that only JPS can directly benefit from the fund in the event of a disaster. As Minister with responsibility for energy, I have a serious issue with the inequity of the fund in its current form. Remember that the fund, up to the start of Beryl, had in excess of $50 million US, for which my understanding, if I remember correct, PS, the JPS would have claimed or made a request for $7 million, for which they got $4.5 million US, which was to be enable them to prepare for the hurricane, to get materials, equipment, etc., in the event of a hurricane. So it is imperative that we plan and protect the transmission and distribution system. But as evidenced by Beryl, one of the major factors following the passage of a natural disaster such as hurricane may unavoidably be the cost of fuel and the inability of the JPS to immediately commence the distribution of actual readings for bills and the inability of customers to immediately commence the payment of bills. Having considered this, I'll be making suggestions to the Cabinet that the government revisits the fund and its use and purpose in a way that will benefit both Jamaicans who contributed towards its $50 million balance, as well as maintaining its ability to provide safeguards in the absence of readily available insurance coverage for JPS. So what does that mean in simple terms? It simply means that the fund must have a component in it to assist the customers who are affected by the disaster to be able to get use of that fund to offset increased cost of fuel and other things that may come about, because as it stands now, only JPS is the major beneficiary. So in the discussions of what do we do based on this bill saga that we are faced with, one of the things that I suggested was, can we use the Emergency Development Fund to cushion the impact of these bills while JPS does what they can do? And that is a discussion that is currently taking place. But based on what I've read, it may not be possible. Let us move to the estimated bills. A separate issue must also be addressed is the ongoing practice of issuing estimated bills to consumers who have been without electricity since burial. The utility provider must have the compassion and the capacity to isolate these customers during this most unfortunate and prolonged inconvenience. It compounds the discomfort and the misery of these customers and adds to their many challenges to have them concerned with exorbitant bills. Irrespective of what the regulations of the existing license allows, this comes across to the JPS customers and Jamaicans across the island as uncaring and tone deaf. I know of one particular customer that had JPS power for 6 days out of the current billing cycles. All 6 days were prior to the passage of Hurricane Beryl. Beryl, as they did not get re-energized until 2 days after the end of the billing cycle. It was concerning to know that the customer was given a bill totaling approximately $108,000. This was a customer in St. Elizabeth, the most severely affected parish, and with one of the most severely affected communities. The government is resolute that the current situation cannot stand. I have made the position clear to the leadership of the JPSCO and will be making recommendations to the Cabinet for changes to be made in respect to the regulator. Based on the circumstances, the government has been left with no choice but to pursue a special audit and investigation into JPS bills published in the aftermath of the hurricane. I will make this position known formally to the government-appointed members of the board and ensure that the facts are unearthed and presented to the public upon completion. As it relates to the JPS license, it is a fact that the current JPS license expires in June 2027, and in the normal course we'd expect to begin negotiations 2 years prior to the expiration. The government is extremely concerned about the current license and the regulations surrounding it. We intend to ensure that in the future a regulatory framework is created which is ultimately to benefit the people and customers of the JPS in Jamaica. As such, we are signaling early our intent to ensure a complete review of the regulatory framework to ensure that it is indeed accrues to the benefit of the people of Jamaica. We can all appreciate the impact of global warming and the fact that we may be facing more risk of natural disaster in the future. So going forward, it is not acceptable to have a regulator which has conducted itself in a manner which has raised valid concerns in the public that it is not vigilant enough to hold the utility to account, while allowing the utility to pass through a 30% increase in rates in the aftermath of a hurricane, while having a $50 million disaster fund sitting in the bank in reserve. This should never happen again, and I'm of the view that the lethargic response of the OUR to the JPS abysmal handling of the peril issue has made it patently clear that the OUR will have to be reconstituted to ensure that it operates in a more effective and efficient manner and in a way which ultimately protects the people of Jamaica. And let me say again that everything that I have seen since becoming minister is all geared towards the JPS, and nothing is in there for the customers and the suffering people of Jamaica. There has to be equity. So, however, it cannot be business as usual, and I have compiled a list of questions that I will share with the media that have been directed to JPS following the debacle. In closing, Mr. Grant, the new JPS CEO, has been based in the most adversely affected area since his appointment on August 1st, 2024. That's the new president and CEO of the JPS. Sir Grant is a returning Jamaican with a wealth of knowledge and experience in the energy sector, and his stewardship of the utility company is crucial at this time. Since his appointment, we have seen improvements in the restorative efforts of the JPS, despite him coming into office at a time such as this. I have made it clear to the new leadership of the JPS that it cannot be business as usual, and the major spike in the bills is simply untenable. The government of Jamaica is sensitive to the challenges being faced by the thousands of Jamaicans, 3,500 as of yesterday, which has still not been restored, and for those who have been sent bills during the current billing cycle, which are burdensome and downright unfair. The audit is intended to inform solutions to long-standing issues and complaints about the JPS billing system. Concerning the current billing cycle, the government has been actively in discussions with the JPS about addressing the unfair and unjust bills sent to customers. In our estimation, the JPS has promised to present a proposal by Friday of this week to address concerns about the bills sent during the current cycle. We will wait anxiously on that, and I understand we had a meeting as late as 9 o'clock last night with the President and myself and the Prime Minister, and he has asked for more time to be able to do some recalculations and also have discussions with the OUR. So that is progress, and it gives me hope that there is going to be good news in the coming days. But in the interim, I received this morning an update from the JPS, which I want to share with you. And basically, it says over the past week, JPS has restored 7,000 customers in St. Elizabeth. As of yesterday evening, 3,247 customers remained without electricity, with 34,549 customers already restored within the parish. JPS continues to navigate factors such as the weather and the terrain, but remains on track to meet, let me repeat that, remains on track to meet its commitment to the government to achieve full restoration of electricity services by August 31st. In the interim, based on my discussions and some concerns that I raised, JPS has suspended disconnections for the non-payment of bills just before the Hurricane Beryl impacted the island on July 3rd. In recognition of the challenges faced by many after the hurricane and the higher bills now being seen, JPS has extended the disconnection process from August 15th to September 15th. So it means that there will be no disconnections until September 15th, which is commendable based on the suffering of so many people, even those who have gotten back light and just simply can't pay the bills because they have been damaged so badly and their livelihoods have been affected. Also, again on my insistence, JPS will continue to facilitate flexible payment plans for persons who need more time to pay, requests are being dealt with on a case-by-case basis, and customers can make requests for payment plans through JPS mobile app or by calling the customer care center, and of course, keeping the ministry in the loop to track that. What is it, JPS what? What's the email address? JPS complaints at mset.gov.jm. JPS complaints? Complaints? Complaints. Thank you, PS. JPS complaints with a S at mset.gov.jm, and also OUR complaints at mset.gov.jm. So we have set up 2 specific email accounts so that the ministry can track and see what's happening in relation to the customer to JPS discussions, and also the OUR, as OUR obviously is the regulator, and of course you may need to reach to them at some point if you're not getting any joy. So the third bit of good news is zero consumption for customers out of supply. While the JPS has a regulatory requirement to ensure customers are billed in a timely manner, it appreciates the frustration and experience by customers without supply who have received bills for the period that they are out. In cases where estimated bills were sent out to persons who had no supply, JPS will cancel these bills and generate new bills representing zero consumption and therefore $0 owed for those bills. And there are several of them out there. We have been hearing about them from the first time of the estimated bills that were sent out some weeks ago. So again, this is good news. It means that for those persons who have not had their lights restored, that were affected by beryl, that received estimated bills or any other kind of bills, those bills will be zero rated, and therefore there will be no funds owed to the JPS on those accounts. JPS has also implemented other initiatives to support customers during this challenging time. A 20% discount on the bills of about 350,000 customers who use 150 kilowatt hours or less electricity for the month. This amounted to almost $300 million. A one-off $1,500 credit for all active prepaid customers, discounted for approximately $25 million. And the company will also give $5,000 to approximately 10,000 customers who remained without electricity after August 12th. This is a total of $50 million. And JPS, again, is indicating that they are giving back to the community in other tangible ways through back-to-school support, provisions of mobile charging for devices, care packages, and much-needed ice and water. So, ladies and gentlemen, and frustrated JPS customers, I think that this is something that can be commended as a start. But the big elephant in the room remains, and that is these unconscionable bills that were sent out in recent days. I can say to you that I am confident that based on the discussions that I have had with the President and his tone, that we are going to see definitively something in the next few days. The government is strong and insistent that a complete rollback of the increases is the only thing that will make this government and this minister happy. And I think that it is achievable and attainable. And I urge the JPS and the OUR to work assiduously from now until Friday, so that on Friday morning, when cock put on him drawers and I get to my office, that I will have a love letter waiting on me, which will be announced for the people of Jamaica and the customers of the JPS. It is time for us to stand up and to protect and defend the people of Jamaica and the customers of the JPS. And in this minister and this government, you have that person, you can be assured. Thank you, JPS, for what you have done so far. Thank you for what you are about to do come Friday, if I should preempt you. And I am saying again that this saying, out of adversity comes opportunity, is exactly what we are going to do. The adversity of this burial saga, we are going to make the amendments and get to the bottom of the billing and also relook at the license and the regulatory framework that governs the license in relation to the OUR and the JPS, and how we transition when we are in normal times to a disaster, and what place and right does the government have at that point to step in and direct the ship. Because as I said, right now, I'm all bark and no bite. So can you imagine if I had bark and bite, where we will be this morning? So you have my assurance. And I want to close by thanking all the hard-working JPS and OUR staff who have been working assiduously, tirelessly to try and get restoration to the entire Jamaica. My positions taken are not taken against the staff. It is taken against the management, the people who make the decisions, the people who have the power to do things in a disaster at both the OUR and the JPS. And in this case, I don't believe that we have transitioned from normal times to disaster times 6 weeks after or 5 weeks after a disaster. I think we could have been much more proactive, and if we were much more proactive by moving into disaster mode, we would not be standing here today. We would have been fully restored. But it is what it is, and I look forward to the restoration on the 31st of August, and look forward to continue discussions with the JPS and the OUR as to how we can protect the customers of the JPS and by extension other utilities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. At this time, we'll open the floor to questions.
Good morning, everyone. Kelly Shaw Williams, Television Jamaica. Minister, every time we have these sort of conversations, you hear complaints about persons saying that it's because JPS has a monopoly on the market in terms of the distribution and transmission of electricity in Jamaica. With JPS's license due to expire in 2027, why is the government so reluctant in opening up the market? And can we see this conversation happening in Parliament in terms of amending the license to allow for such competition?
So we have the Electricity Act that we had our final meeting last week, which will now go to Parliament. And I think in that act, you will see quite a bit of fundamental changes as it relates to the Act of 2015. The big issue with the point you have raised about competition is whether or not the market is big enough for two players. And the fact of the matter is that is something that we are grappling with. But I do think that where we are today, based on the experiences that we have had, that discussion will come back on the table in the review that we are going to do, the in-depth review and audit that we are going to do, which will help us and inform us in our negotiations for the renewal or issuance of a new license. So it has a double effect. We will go in there well-armed and well-prepared, rather than just going into a negotiation, looking at the existing license and making some changes, and at the end of the day, we end up in a situation similar to where we are now, which means that the JPS customers are not protected sufficiently. So you will hear more on that for sure, based on the debate in Parliament on the Electricity Act, and of course, obviously, the audit and review of the current JPS license and the billing.
Thank you. Hello, good morning. Trisha Gay Kelly from CVM. Just want to know, is the government at liberty or in a position to impose penalties on the JPS if it is not satisfied at the end of the day?
No, OUR. And the OUR's position, which I'm not in agreement, is that they are not prepared to start anything until such time as restoration is completed, and then they will do a post-mortem in relation to all that happened in relation to JPS's actions or inactions for restoration. From my vantage point, you only do post-mortems when you're dead. So I'm not quite sure what a post-mortem will do after the fact. And that's the point I made earlier, that you need to get involved and get sure and oversight in relation to the recovery effort and use the powers that you have as a regulator to impose sanctions and fines as you go along, because the fact is that JPS has missed every deadline. So what has happened to make them more efficient and treat the matter with more urgency? But again, the OUR was set up to be an independent regulator to kind of give government and the JPS somebody in between. But I do believe strongly that when disasters come, that everything should fall and allow the government to take charge in relation to the restoration efforts of whatever the situation may occur at the time.
Good morning, Kimone Francis from the Gleaner. Minister, you stated that the government is basically deeply concerned how long JPS used ADO and the waiver that was given in terms of its usage. Is fraud among the concerns of the government?
Well, I wouldn't get to that point as yet, for sure. The fact of the matter is that we have made the information that we have public. And the bottom line is that a special audit will get into all the aspects of billing, and it's not necessarily in this particular bill cycle for Beryl. It will, I'm sure, look at historic billings and basically get the necessary answers. But the OUR will have to work with that special audit because they are the regulator who would have to supply pertinent information. So it would have to be, the fact that it's independent would still have, OUR still have a big part to play in terms of the information and the data that would be required.
How frequently do the government-appointed members to the board update the government and cabinet to read what is taking place at JPS?
Annual report? So the OUR reports the Cabinet Office. It does not report to the ministry. So I'm not quite sure what the reporting mechanism is. But again, that also is something that will have to be looked at, because obviously if we are the government or any government of the day, then obviously they need to be supplied with information on a real-time basis so that policies and that can be implemented if necessary, policy changes. So again, all of this is going to be a part of the review, both current review and of course a part of the renewal of the license or the issuance of a new license by 2027, which should start early next year in order to have the time to make sure that everything is in place by the time the expiry of that 2027 license is. I think it's June 2027, if my memory serves correct. Oh, JPS board members. JPS has government has 3 JPS seats on the board for which the minister appoints. And those are in place, and I think the life of the board, is it? Our government boards are 3 years, and you recall that government still has a 19.9% stake in the JPS, which is what gives us the seats on the board. And I can indicate that I called an emergency meeting yesterday with the 3 members of the board to get information as to whether they were aware of the rate hike, for which they were not, and secondly, to give them the government's position in relation to the next board meeting, which is scheduled for the end of this month into the first week of September. So those 3 board members, along with the PS and myself, met yesterday, and I told them in no uncertain terms what the government's position was and what their position they are to take at the board meeting.
Morning, Minister. Mahiri Stewart from Nationwide News here. Is there anything you can give us as it regards the amount of complaints you've received since you've launched the email JPS complaints?
Well, huh? Okay, we'll supply that. We have a media package for you after, which has quite a lot of information in relation to calculations and other things that we have. But yes, I would expect the last time that I did something on social media, it was inundated, and I expect no different this morning. We launched it yesterday afternoon, about 3 o'clock? About 300. So we have about 300 already, not to mention how many I have on my phone. I don't know. Looks like the entire JPS customer base has my cellular number, and when they can't get any answers or any joy, they come to me, and I try and help each and every one of them as they come to me, because I understand the frustration and the anger and the most questions you ever get at a press conference.
Regarding the estimated bills, is there a criteria for customers who are eligible? So is it only for those who are still without electricity but have received estimated bills, or is it for customers, for everybody who received bills?
So my understanding based on what I read is that it would be for those who would have got estimated bills while having no power, and in relation to those who have gotten bills and have issues in terms of how to pay the bills, that they are allowing for a compassionate payment plan, which I insisted on, because I can fully understand that there are some people that would love to pay the bill, but they just don't have it. So I'm watching to see how that plays out, because they say it's a case by case, but there's going to be a lot of cases. So I need to see how that pans out in terms of that everybody who has an issue and can demonstrate that they have an issue is treated justly and fairly.
Another question, Minister. You were speaking earlier about the EDF, the fund, the disaster fund, and problems you're having with the inequity of it. We know that JPS is putting things in place to ensure that people specifically in St. Elizabeth get the $5,000 discount, and that's going to be spread amongst the customers, and it's going to total, I believe you said, up to $50 million. Is it that there's legislation that prevents them from using the fund to do things of that manner?
You have a document here that says the Office of Utilities Regulation, Electricity Disaster Fund, Rules of Procedure for Operations and Administration, Notice of Proposed Rulemaking. This was dated September 2007. It is 47 pages long, and it has nothing in here for the customer. And the bottom line is it's flawed on that basis, because it cannot be that the customers is who fund this fund. The JPS customers, and every bill that you get, there is something that comes out of it to go towards this fund, and at the end of the day, the only person that can draw on this fund is the monopoly. So I don't get it. So this, as I said, this document here will have to be revised in the overall review, because I have already made a suggestion that part of this fund should be used to cushion the JPS customers, not specifically to the saga with this particular bill increase, but sustained to allow you to get back on your feet for those who are needy. So yes, but it is what it is. This is it. As of right now, this is it. I'm quite surprised that September 2007, and this is what I got. So I'm not quite sure if it has been reviewed, but I would expect. Well, I would expect that after 17 years, you would have learned a few things in relation to, because this wouldn't be the first. This would not be the first disaster. We have had Ivan. We have had several. So again, this is a fundamental issue in relation to equity. And I just don't understand how you can take customers' money and at the end of the day, in a disaster, when they are the affected persons, along with the JPS, that there's nothing of significance or substance that you can lawfully do based on the... So again, it's on my radar. Trust me, on my radar. I hope I have enough time to complete it, and I hope I have enough time after next year to continue the work.
Kimon again, what's the value of the ADO concessions given to JPS?
400 and round figures, between 430 and 450 million. I have it here. I came well armed this morning for you. Where is it? Where is it? Here it is. The SET exemption of the waiver is $348,396,077.27, and the ad valorem exemption is $48,004,678.61. So that's about 400 million, huh? Little under 400 million. So, again, my figures, internal figures, that I have gotten from my technical people, which includes Petrojam, is that there should have been no more than a 6% hike in electricity bills, based on the fact that the LNG was only out for 5 days. So again, those are questions that are going to need to be answered. And as I said before, I have, and you get a copy of it, written to the President this morning with 8 questions surrounding the billing, this billing cycle. So again, thank you very much. And as I said, oh, you have one?
Yeah, I have one more question.
Yeah.
You spoke earlier about the letter that JPS had sent to the Ministry of Finance on July 1, and you had expressed concern that it wasn't sent as well to OUR and MSET as a ministry. Were there any protocols breached by them not doing that, or is it just something you wish they would have done?
Well, put it this way. I find it very curious that the letter was written on July 1st, addressed to the Honorable Nigel Clark, and it was under the signature of a Mr. Vernon Douglas, the Chief Financial Officer, and it is neither copied to his president, it is neither copied to his board, it is neither copied to the OUR, it is neither copied to the permanent secretary, or it is neither copied to the minister with responsibility for all. So the only thing that I can think is that Mr. Douglas is in charge of all of us. That's the only conclusion. For him to be able to write a letter like this as a CFO to the Minister of Finance without any copies to the relevant stakeholders, which includes a minister, includes his president, includes his board, who I can categorically state did not, my 3 members, attended no board meeting and were not contacted. And they were not contacted on the estimated bills either. So JPS will have to deal with this. This is not in my scope. But the bottom line is I do find it very, very curious. And I think that answers and sanctions are deserved. Look forward to Friday. I wish I could go to sleep and wake up and it was Friday. I wake up, but we have tomorrow and then Friday. But Friday is D-Day in relation to trying to bring this matter to an amicable solution and settlement. And hopefully we will never have to go back here again. Thank you very much.